Look, Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. As I
Sure.
said to you on the phone a little bit earlier, what I'm trying to do is to educate athletes and parents about different colleges in America. I feel like there's not enough information out there for people. So the purpose of this is just to get to know you as a coach and also to understand your program. And by the time people finish watching this or listening to this, they should know everything about Kansas State. I'm excited about this one. I haven't actually spoken to someone from your school before, so I'm pumped.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
Yeah.
guess to get started, Coach, how did you get into tennis? Like, what was the big inspiration behind that? And then more so, how did you become a coach?
It couldn't have been any more random. I'll be honest with you. My dad was a karate teacher, and my mom was like huge on academics and piano instrument.
Yep.
The academics is non-negotiable. That's something that the household had to do. But I hated piano and I hated karate, and so I was just kind of looking for an out, but I didn't have an out, so I was doing that for several years, and then one day I was doing a summer camp, and two of the days, like it's a summer camp, every day you're doing the same crap pretty much, but then randomly 2 days a week we had a tennis person come in there, take us through these tennis drills. No one knows what they're doing. I'm like 6 years old, probably trying to hurt somebody with a racket. And I kind of just started liking it. I was kind of one of those things where I was like, all right, mom, like so I was able to continue doing lessons after the summer with this coach. She kind of got me started. Her name was Yaki Pete. So I did that for a little bit and kind of took a break for, a few months. And around 8 years old, I was like, yeah, I miss tennis. And I've been in it ever since. So it was new to my family. No one really knew anything about what they were signing up by letting me play tennis. But it's been awesome, to be able to do what I love. And would never have known if it wasn't for that, summer camp.
Yeah.
And then coaching, I played, a lot of tennis growing up, traveling the States, and played at University of Memphis all 4 years. And coaching was not going to be a part of the program. It was going to be, maybe if you make it on the pro tour, maybe not, but everyone wants to do that. And then, I was passionate about law. So law school was my biggest goal.
Oh, wow.
My whole college career. I was a poli-sci major. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I was studying for the LSAT, and I was just, got offered out of college a country club job. They're paying for health benefits. I'm like, okay, I'll do this for a little bit, and save up for law school. It wouldn't take like a $50,000 or more job, straight out of college.
Right?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, yeah, why not? I'm working with juniors and teaching some ladies clinics, and, it was great. So I did that, started loving it. Got to travel 20 to 25 weeks every year, working with high level juniors. Even took a kid to Africa and Europe.
Oh, there we go. Love it.
Yeah. So, and then we hosted a pro event at our club in February. So it used to be an ATP 500 and a premier WTA event. It was a combined men's and women's indoor event. And I was tournament staff for about 4 years and the hitting partner. So it was pretty cool. Just at this one club, I had, all these different things that I was able to do. And I volunteered for my alma mater. So I had my hands on a lot of different things. And eventually I was like, hey, college coaching is kind of where I want to get back into, and, able to find a position for me as an assistant, and just kind of haven't looked back in the last, this is my 10th year overall college coaching, I think, and been like 8 years straight.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
Kansas State, big school. I see you got the Nike merch on. Love it.
Yeah.
Very, very jealous. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, it's an amazing school. And there's a lot of content on social media that shows the facilities. I mean, let's just start with Kansas State to start with. So what is the school like? Where is it located? And what are your sort of competitors that you're up against?
Yeah, so we're located in Manhattan, Kansas, which, you say Manhattan, everybody thinks New York. Yeah. So the moniker here is we're calling ourselves the Little Apple versus the Big Apple. You got to be catchy in some ways to, attract the attention. So, Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. We're a college town. Everything that this city has, this town has been, surrounded because of this, university and all the great things that we have going on with campus. So, that is a little different for a lot of people. You come from a bigger city. I'll be honest with you. I'm the same way. I never even stepped foot in Kansas for my interview, and had no idea what living in a small town was like. But you get on board with it. So for us, obviously in the Big 12, we're in a strong league. One of the Power 5 conferences. All of those schools are pretty much ones that I feel like we're always trying to compete with the other 9. Some I wouldn't say we necessarily get in the same recruiting battles, but we're trying to win against them. So I think usually we're agriculture school. You have to know that when you're dealing with other ag schools or just dealing with parts of the country, what's going to sell Manhattan over those other schools? Is it going to be the academics, which our university, we're serious about it. And I think that's where a lot of people, they look at overall university academic rankings, and they're like, oh yeah, well, K-State's only this high, whereas Harvard's so much higher than you. Well, okay, yeah, it's Ivy League, or another non-Ivy League school, Vanderbilt, is so much higher. But I always like to say, okay, but what are you majoring in? Because I think there are some degrees at K-State that might be top 10 in the country, but that might differ from our academic ranking, but that's the best degree you can find. For example, we're top 10 in the country in animal science, or food science, those things that are journalism, those things that are like, hey, we're really good. Or architecture and engineering, we're really good in those areas. But when you come to business, which is a lot of times people think about that, well, everyone has business and everyone's claiming the same things, and that's So no, I think the selling point of us is that you're going to have more support. It is a tight family feel here. They care. I mean, purple trash cans, purple cups, everything's purple. Obviously, I'm wearing purple today. Not by coincidence by any means. It's just because, hey, like we're all about it.
That's fantastic. And I like what you said about not looking at the academic rankings so closely, because that can be quite misleading when we help athletes try to find the right fit. There's 4 different things we look into. It's like the cost of how much the athlete pays, the location, the academics, and the sporting program. And the academics one is a tough one because obviously a lot of parents want their kids to go to really good academic institutions that's going to set themselves up for life. But those rankings at every different website you look at, whether it's the Princeton Review or US.com, whatever it is, they've got slightly different rankings. And I believe it's based on a combination of like the graduation rate and the average threshold as well. And there's so many different things that go into it. I think what you said about looking at the individual program is so important. I mean, I just got a message from one of my students. His name's Patrick Wall. He's a tennis student athlete at Hofstra University. Now, Hofstra is, is not ranked inside the top 30, but he's just been offered as a sophomore a Fortune 500 company position at a company to intern at. And so, when you graduate from university, what have you got to walk out with is really important. You got to specifically look at that thing. And sometimes some students don't really know what to do. And that's where a university like yours is great because it's so big. There's so many different majors. You're like, how many majors do you guys have?
Yeah. So I think we have quite a bit. We have a lot. I couldn't tell you the exact number, but I think, it goes even further than that, because your student went to Hofstra and was able to get that connection to get this internship. And that's where we're doing at K-State, is that, like you're saying, there's a lot of wonderful academic programs, but you got to know what you're wanting for yourself. Right. And based on knowing what you want, that's going to allow you to find the connections that you need to succeed. And I think a lot of times it's about, okay, you might go to this very prestigious, elite place, but yet your window of connections is so small, versus you go to a different place that maybe isn't as high, but your pool of connections is even higher. And so, what's going to get you in the door? Is it going to be that piece of paper, or is the fact that you have the piece of paper and a better backing? And I think that's where people have to always consider as well.
Totally.
Yes.
So The athletic facilities. I've seen it. One of my student athletes is currently talking to you. She's filled me in on what you've said, and I was just gobsmacked with what you guys get access to. Walk us through it, man. Lay it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate. We have, it starts with, we call it performance table, and a lot of these bigger schools, you have the student athlete only cafeteria, which is buffet style, which if I had that, I mean, I don't think I would have been cooking pasta every single night when I was a student, or eating like Subway. So, the fact that they get 10 meals a week, just for student athletes, that is, part of the scholarship. For anyone that's on full or partial. That's awesome. 5 breakfasts, 5 dinners a week.
Is that at like one cafeteria that's built just for student athletes, or?
Yep. And it's right here in our facility. So it overlooks our football field, which is pretty cool. So a lot of times you're kind of looking over, you see in football practice, you're in the stadium, which is like phenomenal that you have this experience, and it's a good way to, you meet other athletes. I'm a big proponent of like, don't just stay within your team, go eat with another table of new student athletes, or even get on campus a little bit. So that's what's pretty cool about here. And then we have fueling stations. So every facility or training area has a fueling station. For example, we have one in our office and we have one in our locker room. So that's going to have snacks, bagels, sandwich, you make sandwiches, any kind of, health drinks, recovery shakes. We have that in our office. So in a way, if they wanted to come by, for lunch, they can get that, and so you end up not really paying for too many meals if you're strategic about it. Because we want to make sure nutrition, everything, health, it's always on point. And so we want to provide every resource we can for them, so you don't have to think about it because it's already there.
Yeah.
The same thing we do on trips. Each player gets an individual snack bag that's catered to them, and what their health needs or their dietary restrictions. So that way, sometimes when you get on the road, there's not a lot of good options. So you don't need the options because you already have it provided to you. Just getting to the trip, and then we do a huge grocery run when we get there. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, I think it's great. Obviously, facility-wise, we have a 6-court facility outdoors, 6 in a row, with seating behind and a big jumbo scoreboard, which I feel like, most colleges have that now. And then we're able to use a 3-court indoor facility that, is prioritized towards us. So that's pretty cool. And locker room, everything like that. And then, training facilities for us, like, I got our teams doing their strength and conditioning work right now. So doing plyometrics and then doing their strength in one facility. And then we have another facility that they use. So we have more than one option. So we're not just stuck, Wow. The fact that we have so many, I think we have 4 or 5 weight training areas that student athletes can use at any time. That's pretty cool for us too.
For sure. And I guess recovery must be such an important piece of this too, right? So you guys have got your physios and your doctors and that sort of thing on campus as well?
Yeah, so we have a full-time physio that works with our team, travels with our team full-time, is at every team practice. She gives us updates. She works with these athletes, whether rehabs or scheduling doctor's appointments, whether you're sick or you're injured, she's going to be on top of that with you. So you're not just trying to do all this on your own, or, a lot of times you're like, what do I do in this situation? Because it's unknown. Well, thankfully, we have someone who's fully certified and very knowledgeable to help us through any process. And if she can't, well, we can find a specialist to help in that area as well.
Amazing.
So that's pretty cool. And then the fact that they can travel with you and see you. And so, a lot of times it gets awkward. You're going away and you're away from your home base, and then you're like, maybe there's a breakdown in communication, or maybe they don't understand how you're feeling, or, you can't get a hold of a doctor back home or the person that you normally work with. Well, we take that out of the way because that person is with you. Yep. And so now it's just a matter of what can we do with what we have in this place that's different for us.
Fantastic. And I guess a lot of the athletes that come to your program, I know we're talking about a particular athlete at the moment, about getting signed with you, but a lot of the girls that come to your tennis program are very high level. They've dominated the juniors. They've won titles, the top in the country, etc. I guess a lot of them have aspirations of getting onto that WTA tour, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's our goal, like we know it's not for everyone, but you want to have that passion, that drive, because we're trying to build you to something. And if you have I think it's great to have short-term and long-term goals. Obviously, being a WTA professional or making your mark on a tour, that's a long-term goal. And so we want to strive for that, but you don't want to miss out that you have a lot of steps or achievements that you can have along the way, maybe your freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and we set that up with them as well. But we wanted you to be the best that you possibly can, regardless of where your aspirations lie, on and off the tennis court. And so fortunately, because of the scheduling and how we set up our program, it's catered to the individual, not just the team, because the team's only as good as the person in each individual link in that chain. So that's why we have a professional setting in our program versus a lot of times it's like, all right, you have team practice and that's it.
Yeah.
Not a small group practice, not an individual practice, one-on-one with the coaches. And we're more than that. We want to be dynamic, and that allows that fuel to want to be successful, post college as well.
Love that. This is a question that a lot of parents are going to be thinking. We're in 2021, weird times. We're in a pandemic. This isn't just specific for tennis players, because I know a bunch of other parents are going to be watching this and athletes. But in terms of COVID, how do you guys deal with it at Kansas State? What sort of precautions are you putting in place for athletes that are there? And are most of your athletes also vaccinated?
Yeah, so, we're 100% vaccinated on our team, but we also respect the choice of the individual. We know there's different reasons of why you may or may not, feel comfortable. And so, we're always going to feel like we're going to do that best for that individual and to, whatever situation that is. Now, let's say if you're vaccinated, okay, we still have protocols that you do, but, you have a little bit more for us, a little leeway. We're still masking in the buildings right now. We got to be precautious, especially with this Delta variant. It's been very tough for anyone, across the world. And if you're unvaccinated, it's just going to be regular vaccinations regular testing that you would have throughout every week, prior to the vaccine being available. And in order for us to succeed with this previous season, I think there are some times we're taking 2 to 3, tests a week in order to travel or compete. That's kind of our school's policy as well as the Big 12 policy. And we always want to make sure that, our health and safety comes first. That's more important than just winning a match. So, because you're not going to be able to win a match if you're not, going to be out there playing. So, yeah. So I say if you're unvaccinated, no problem. If a school said, there are some schools maybe cracking down and saying you have to be vaccinated. K-State is not one of those programs. I'm sure there's a lot of other universities on that same page. We're just going to do our best to say, hey, you have to test a little more. You're going to have to, do a PCR or a rapid test just to make sure you're getting that. It might get tedious, but, like you said, we want to make sure your health is the most important.
COVID is such a scary thing, not just because it's caused a lot of problems health-wise for a lot of people, but the media coverage on it as well has definitely scared people too. And I know people that have, had COVID before, and it's not a good time. I've got a few athletes in the US from different universities that have tested positive for COVID. And when I FaceTime them, sometimes they are a bit sick and they have like a temperature and a fever. Sometimes they're okay and they're running around in the isolation unit trying to see how many laps they can do off their hotel room.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it really varies, right? But I think for parents to know that, there is testing, their masks, you have to wear a mask at all times. That's really reassuring. And I was even talking to one of my other athletes, and he said that in the athletic facility, they have to get temperature checked most of the times as well. Is that something that you guys do?
Yeah, we haven't done that recently because we're, adjusting it, based on wherever the current mandate from our, CDC or government. It's kind of, whatever the health officials. But, for away teams, there are some situations when you're outside the bubble that there is going to be temperature checks. That's part of it. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't understand or maybe not know is, for example, once you do, unfortunately, maybe test positive, or if that does that were to happen, and hopefully you recover fully. But it is a long process, kind of coming out of it, especially for, my sport, tennis players, or the high cardiovascular, there's a long return to health process, because you just don't know what the, after effects are going to be on your, your heart, your breathing. And so we do take our time. There's not going to be a rush of like, hey, let's get you back out there. You've done your 15 days, of isolation or quarantine. No, we're going to check. It's like, all right, how's your breathing? How do you do doing this? And I think that's important for all those sports, whether it's tennis or basketball or track and field, that they do have that return to health protocol, and every school has that, kind of laminated for everyone.
Yeah, that's really good to know. I know one of my athletes, he's a soccer player on the East Coast and at a Division I school, and he got tested positive for COVID. He's the one that was running around his hotel room. Yeah. And he gets out after 10 days, I think it was, he spent in a hotel, which was covered by his scholarship. And he had to get like an EQG test done, which is, I guess that's the heart test. And then he had to do like a jog on a treadmill for 15 minutes with all the monitors on him, and like a couple of people observing him. And if everything checked out, he was allowed back into the team environment. And I think that's great for parents to know that your child is going to be looked after, and they're going to make sure they're healthy before they're put like back into the training environments and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the same. You treat it the same as injury. You don't want to put them in, they feel like it's going to make it worse. I love winning, want to be successful, but I also want them to feel great about themselves and know that we're doing right by them.
For sure. Now, the Nike deal, Kansas State, Nike gear. What kind of stuff do your athletes get access to? I mean, I've seen the email that came through. It's a bit of a list, but.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate, that we have the sponsorship with Nike. And so, we're our tennis girls, they get a lot. We're a small team. We do very well. I guess trying to say it without seeing, not being humble about it. But, if I had to, for our team, I try to make sure we have everything we need, whether it's our shoes or, bags, any kind of equipment, clothing. I think in sometimes I can get a little carried away with the trigger finger of, pressing buy. But I think sometimes our players might get 30 items or more each. That's each player gets about 30 items of clothing for themselves, to start the beginning of the year. And that's just, we're fortunate that we have it. We're definitely not the top dogs by any means. But here at K-State, that's probably where we're at. I mean, we got a couple running shoes, maybe fall and spring, at least 5 on-court tennis shoes or more, depending on who that person is. And then, you have your warm clothes, your match tops, your match clothes, practice gear. Yeah. So it's a lot that goes into it. And we have a Nike database. And so I order a lot of stuff blank. Now we are lucky that Nike makes K-State gear. Yeah. And so we do a lot of our orders a year out. And so it's crazy because you never know. So we've already done our order for fall 22 in September of 2021. So it is a process that you have to, maybe you don't know your team, maybe you haven't signed the players yet, you guess. So we order a lot of blank, and luckily at K-State, we have a wonderful equipment staff. They only handle equipment. Their job is equipment. And they logo a lot of our stuff in-house, whether it's our jackets or tops, everything. So it helps us look good. And we're very, very fortunate with our Nike and just our overall budget and equipment, like tennis equipment. Each player gets 4 rackets from me when they get here, at least twice in their 4 years. Any string that they like playing with. Obviously, we're sponsored by a couple companies. But whatever racket they use, we want them to feel like they feel comfortable being themselves, and we're not trying to just change it. It's like, all right, this is what racket you use. You got to use this string. Well, that's not what you've grown up doing. So let's continue putting you on the good path that you're already on.
I'm going to cut you a deal right now. I will get you an All Blacks jersey, a rugby jersey from New Zealand. You got to get me one of those hoodies, man. They look sick.
No problem. You tell me what size you are, and I got you covered, man.
There we go. I don't know why I use my connections more often to get some merch. They're selling it in New Zealand. All of the college merch is going off at the moment. It's like this vintage style that all these young kids are wearing, and they're spending like $200 on a hoodie.
Yeah, I
Get
know.
one of those.
Yeah, we do. We do that, and we logo our tennis. I think I'm a little crazy. I'm all about like standing out, and so we have 3 different logos this year, which is kind of insane. The fact that we have 3 different logo tennis balls out there, but we're just trying to work and
Wow.
be creative and try to mix it up.
Last question before I know you got training with a girl soon, so I won't keep you long. Recruiting red flags. I always ask coaches this. When you're looking at a recruit, what makes you think right now in that moment, oh, I'm not going to go to that recruit? And what are the reasons behind that? Is it to do with their social media? Is it to do with the way they interview? What sort of things do you look for that sort of turn you off a recruit?
I mean, social media is very important. Sometimes I think for me is that I love to see a balance of both. A good recruit is that they have some photos of them doing the sport that's given them this opportunity to get the scholarship, but they also have some photos of them getting away from the sport, whether it's family time, friends, not just like party or, summer photos, So I think that's really cool that you see a balance. It's like, all right, I know how to turn off, I know how to get away, but I also want you to see me doing the thing that I feel like I'm very good at and I'm going to be successful at. And I want to put that out there too. So that's kind of like a good green light, I would say, if I see a recruit. Now, if it's just like a big red flag for me is, if you are able to establish conversation, I know it's tough on the other side of it. You're probably, some of these recruits are getting hounded, sometimes, depending on who they are. And like, how do I, get through all this, conversations or all this stuff that's coming my way? One thing for us is that don't just say, what are you going to give me? I think that's a lot of times a red flag for me. It was like, well, we haven't established a conversation. The first thing you're saying is, what do I get out of speaking with you or choosing your school? Instead of, hey, I'm offering you something, but I think you're also offering me something. So what is the partnership that we can create versus what is this one-sided benefit for just a recruit? I think that's a lot of times a little bit of a red flag, because I don't ever want to be one-sided for anyone. Not for me as the coach trying to get this really good player, but they get nothing out of it, or this player getting everything and not, and I'm not getting anything out of it. It's a balance. We're a team. I know it's different to be in a team setting in college, especially maybe so far from home, but I hope they know that we're going to do what's best for them, but we want them to know it, we want to do it together, not just, solo.
That's really good to know, because quite often when athletes get approached by quite a few universities, the conversation they feel is a bit more like, okay, what kind of stuff can you give me? How much support can you give me? That sort of thing, as opposed to, I would love to be someone on your team and come compete for your team and win matches. And, after college, this is my aspiration of being a professional. Can you help me? And I guess, we're fortunate to work with a few people. I know you're talking to one of our girls right now, and she's super humble. I think she's an awesome person. I'm not going to name her on here, but we'll get it assigned first. We'll get it assigned first. But yeah, I mean, she's really excited. And, we work with a lot of athletes like that have just come from good families, really good families. They've been brought up well. And, I'm really lucky that every athlete I've worked with have just got amazing families. So that's great. Coach, I just want to thank you for your time today. You are an absolute legend. I really appreciate it. You've been brilliant. I mean, how can people get in touch with your program? Is it your website, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, I am horrible at social media. I'm trying to get better, but my assistant and just everything we have provided, whether it's the website, our Instagram, our Twitter, whatever, I feel like we have more than different enough channels to get in touch with myself or just our team page to follow and just kind of see what we're doing. I think that's pretty important. So it's one of those things where I feel like these days it's hard to not be noticed. A lot of times, you got to try really hard. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, getting me on here, thinking I'll be good for this. And so always happy to help any way I can.
Absolutely, man. And I meant what I said before, man. I got an All Blacks jersey coming your way. All right.
No, hey, you tell me your size and I'll get you covered.
Let's
it's easy
go.
for me to order mid sizes, so that's a little easier.
Awesome. Coach Jordan
Yeah.
Smith, Kansas State Women's Tennis. Thank you so much for joining us. And like you said before, go follow them on Instagram, Facebook, check out their website, look at their schedule, tune into some of their matches on the live stream. It's definitely worth a watch. And they've got heaps of hyper videos as well on YouTube and social media.
Yeah.
They're absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Coach, and
No
have a great
problem.
session.
Thanks, man. You too. Have a good one.
See you later.